have been an activist, you've been a principal, you've been dealing with everything on youth issues. Just give us an explanation of who you are and what you envision your work in DC to be.
Thank you so much. This is such an honor to be here this morning to meet our Orange residents that are here. Looking forward to your questions. Like the mayor said, I am a lifelong educator. Started as a preschool teacher, became a kindergarten teacher, was an adult education teacher teaching English to our adult parents who did not have the target language of English. And then moved on to becoming a vice principal in Belleville, and then now the proud principal of Essex County North Tech High School. We have to say Essex County because it's a county vocational school, and our county executive makes sure that we mention Essex County, right? So yes, Essex County, where I actually graduated from. I am a proud Terrier, class of 1995. So being an advocate for education is one of the proudest jobs that I have. Like the mayor said, we advocate that our students not only are career ready, but they're college ready as well. We at Essex County North Tech started or piloted a program around 5-6 years ago where our students graduate with an associate's degree from Essex County College. And one thing that was not mentioned is that I am a trustee of Essex County College as well. So that is one of my primary goals, is to ensure that our students are not only career ready because of the certifications they get at our schools, but that we're advocating for them, our children of color, to be college ready, and they're graduating with an associate's degree. This year we'll have about 26 students in a cohort who will graduate not only with their certification in engineering, nursing, EMT, auto technology, carpentry. They're also graduating with an associate's degree from Essex County College, that small cohort. My goal is to increase that cohort, to have more students coming right out of high school with that 2-year degree. It's a 2-year degree, 60 credits. And for those who don't know, substituting. All you need right now, because of the pipeline, we are losing teachers. We're losing teachers. It's hard to get teachers, especially in those critical areas of science and mathematics. So we are looking at our engineering students right next door at NJIT. We're trying to bring them into our school. Listen, we need math teachers. You're graduating with 100 and something credits. We're looking at Essex County College. You're graduating with 60 credits. Right now in the state of New Jersey, in order to substitute, you need 30 credits. They decreased the credits, yes, because of how hard it is to get substitutes into our schools. So that is one of the things that I will continue to advocate once I am in the State House. Education is my primary goal. I don't want to take up too much time, so I don't know if they're okay with that. I know questions are coming. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Mayor Warren. Thank you, Councilwoman Wooten. I'm happy to be here this morning. I've been mayor of Bloomfield for the last 10 years, and there was an open for assembly seat, so I decided to pursue it at the time it was right. And the new district is Orange, East Orange, Bloomfield, Belleville, Nutley, and Glen Ridge. So it's a very nice, diverse, on a socioeconomic level, and also from a diversity standpoint, district. And our district, come January, we're going to have Brittany Timberlake in the Senate, Carmen and myself in the Assembly. Not only are we going to be one of the most diverse districts in the state from a representative standpoint, but also we're going to be the youngest representatives as a trio in Trenton. So that's we're very proud about that, and that's our chairman, Leroy Jones, did a great job putting this ticket together. When I get I have a whole host of issues, but two that are very important to me are going to be transportation and healthcare. I know, like Mayor Warren, we're trying to develop around our train station in Bloomfield, just like here in Orange. So from not only from a train standpoint and rail standpoint, but also from our public busing standpoint. We really need to address these two issues and fix them. If people, I know in Bloomfield, we have mostly all the new residents that are moving in are coming from New York City.
Yes.
And they're obviously still working in New York City, but they want that suburban/urban lifestyle coming to New Jersey. But if you don't provide proper transportation for them to get into New York City, we're going to lose that. And that's gonna be a big issue. We have the Gateway Tunnel project coming up. Hopefully that gets done within the next 20 years. But that is gonna be crucial. And also from a bus standpoint, I know my day job, I'm Director of Human Resources for the Essex County Schools of Technology, so I work with Carmen directly. But some of our kids, and she can speak more about this, that go to Newark Tech, have to take 2 and 3 buses just to get to Newark Tech. So we need to kind of look at it from a mapping standpoint to see how do we address it, how do we make it easier for not only our kids, but for people to get to work, because we do live in one of the most congested areas in the country. And then as far as healthcare, obviously, the rising cost of healthcare is a huge issue. You know, as mayor, and the mayor can speak about this as well, it's costing us almost $40,000 to provide healthcare for a family, for one of our employees. So, you know, from, let's say we hire a new cop that has a family already, they're only making $40,000 their first year, and their healthcare is gonna cost the same exact as what their salary is. So if we don't address this, this is gonna become a major issue because us towns are paying for it. So that is something we need to address as well. And you know, and one of the reasons why I wanted to run is there is a huge gap with the legislator, what they do to municipalities with unfunded mandates that are just costing us more and more money. So the more mayors and local elected officials that we do get down to Trenton, they know what it's like when we get that bill from Trenton, that we could address it before we get that bill. So that's, yeah.
So I am gonna give a question to the panel here. Some of you may or may not know what the assembly seat is, or what the assembly person does, or what the assembly person or the assembly has done for us in the past. So in the 34th district, some of the things that Assemblywoman Timberlake has done for the city of Orange Township is she's tackled foreclosures and sheriff sales. So if you have a foreclosure and they get final judgment, it goes to a sheriff sale. So what the Assemblywoman has done, and we've been on the, what do you want to call the protest line, the mayor, St. Matthew's Church, and a couple other people, what she's done was she put something on the governor's desk for him to sign to say a family member can get this house. So right now, it has to be, what's that term called, Mayor?
So currently, a private investor or any other person can come and bid for your house. This legislation would allow for a family member to come in, son, uncle, brother, father, whomever it is, to save this family's house. In urban areas, it's not just a house. This is the fountain of wealth for families. And so to the extent that we're able to keep that in the family, that has been the dynamic. We all know that the assembly is the body that approves the governor's budget. They appropriate money. They make sure that towns get money. They make sure that our boards of education get well funded. They have significant power, and sometimes legislators go into the legislature without fully knowing who their district is, and without hearing from their district. And therefore, they only serve those people from whom they hear.
Right.
We have brought them here today, prior to election, to let them know where Orange is, what our priorities are, and to get them energized to work for the city of Orange Township. We respect the entire district, but we want them to focus on where? Orange! Right. So we brought them here today, ask questions, they're open to it. They have like minds, they do, and have the priorities that we have. So I'm happy that they're on board and ready to go. I do want to acknowledge Westport Councilperson Quintavia Hilbert tonight.
So we do have a question here.
First of all, let me just congratulations first. I want to congratulate the comment that was made concerning the foreclosures. That's an excellent job. And I'm going to move on to congratulate the principal in terms of the job that you're doing in reference to the association degree. But one of my questions I pose to you is, I guess the main question I would pose to you, do you or have you have anything within your school system that you can work with special need individuals. That to me, that's one of my concerns as a retired educator. And I know that there's need, all children are in need. That was my question posed to you. And my second question, I'm gonna sit, cause I stopped to come here because I had something else on the agenda. And I said, let me get my two questions in first. My question to you is, first of all, let me congratulate what you're planning to do in terms of the mobility and getting people to come to enhance your city. But one of my main concerns is, and I don't know how you will respond to this, New Yorkers are moving over to this area. And the price they're paying to live here is sometimes 1/2 or 1/3 in terms of what they would pay in New York. So what are you going to do to help individuals who do not have that money and they do need a place to live? Those are my two questions. Thank you very much.
All right, to address her question, I always say all our children are special. They all have their own special, unique needs, and our job as educators is to ensure that we meet those needs wherever they are and make sure that we close those gaps wherever they are. So as far as what we do as educators in Essex County Vocational Technical Schools, for those who don't know, Essex County Vocational Technical School is a district where students come to prepare for a career, whatever career they choose to. And we do have students with all needs, right? All special needs. And so our school at Essex County West Caldwell Tech, Essex County Payne Tech, students come in, they interview, they get accepted into our school district, and they choose the career that they want to get into. Our job is to support them in whatever it is that they need, whether if depending on what those needs are, it is our obligation to make sure that we meet those needs. If it's speech, if it's occupational therapy, if it's an aid in the classroom, we have students that their needs are that they just don't understand the target language. They came in from a different country and they don't know English. So we have those supports in place to ensure that those students are successful in wherever they are. We meet them where they are and ensure that they graduate, whether it be with a certification, an associate's degree. So there's various ways of us as educators to ensure that our students are met where they are. So that is always our goal as educators, and as the principal, we're always looking at, well, what else can we do?
That's right.
What else can we do? So again, I had brothers that didn't have the language either when they came in. As soon as they came in to their school, they were put in a special classroom. They were met in that special needs, but in our school we don't. We integrate all students because we feel like that's important. They need to be around their peers and learn from each other. So that is how we target that need.
Thank you very much.
Advocacy with the state Board of Education is making sure each district gets
Yes.
the proper funding.
And of course, like the mayor said, our goal once we're in the state is to ensure that our schools get what they need. We were able to build 3 beautiful schools in the county because of the funding that we got from the state. So we want to make sure when we're going into these districts, we're looking at their schools. We're looking to see what needs are available to the students and what else that we can do in the state level to increase that funding so that students are given what they deserve.
Thank you.
So, thank you for picking this event over the other event that you had. But, yes, the affordability issue is a major issue because, I'm seeing it in Bloomfield and I know the mayor's seen it in Orange where a new building just went up and for regular tenants, they're looking for $3,000 a month for 1 bedroom. So it is a real issue.
That's
So
a lot.
one thing that, as mayor, what we've done is, make sure that the developers do put in affordable housing in their units. We've also built a senior building as well to kind of complement, make sure seniors are able to stay in this area. Another thing too that's going on right now is our Assembly Speaker, Craig Coughlin, has just introduced a bill in the Assembly, and the Senate President has also introduced a bill where it's gonna give seniors a 50% tax break up to $10,000 on their home for everyone 65 and over. It is a part of the negotiation right now, but I do support something like that because we do need to make sure our seniors are able to stay where they live, where they're comfortable. And then when I do get to the Assembly in January, I'm gonna make sure that the Department of Community Affairs is fully funded because they have a division of housing in their, under their component, and Sheila Oliver is head of the Department of Community Affairs right now. We have to make sure they're fully funded and that municipalities know that they could go to them for funding for affordable housing as well.
Thank you very much.
Good to meet you.
It's like him.
It's me, right? He moved, gentleman moved, he moved, he's right over here. But I don't need a microphone.
Okay.
So good morning. My name is Janaka Williams. I am a proud proud resident of the city of Orange. I just closed on my home in Orange on actually April the 7th, which was Good Friday. It was a good day. So what the mayor spoke about as it relates to the work that Assemblyman woman Timberlake addressed as far as housing was extremely important. My grandmother lives directly next door to me, but the house that I brought, the young lady, unfortunately, she expired after COVID, and her family was trying to get the home. The home eventually went into foreclosure, and unfortunately, an investor bought the home. But because of what you spoke about, the family was unable to secure it, and the investor, of course, they were more savvy. They had more resources. The family actually lived in Mississippi. She lived at 653 Tremont Courts by herself. She was 96 years old. And so they lost it, but thankfully, that we were able to purchase the home from the investors afterwards, clearly at a much higher rate than it would have been if the family was able to secure it to us. So I'm very thankful for that. And so just want to kind of just connect those dots as to the importance of the work that the Assembly that they're doing on behalf of the residents. I'm directly impacted by that. But I don't really have a question. Just really want to speak to the qualifications of these two candidates. Again, I'm a proud resident, City of Orange. The mayor was one of the things that was happening here in the City of Orange. One of the things that attracted me to bring my family here and to continue raising my family here. So I want to acknowledge the work that you're doing, Mayor Warren, and want to encourage you to keep pressing forward. People are taking note. Great guy. When he joined a fraternity,
That's not a question.
Yeah, but it's not a question.
We're not gonna do that though. Okay. We're not gonna do that.
So he joined the fraternity, but it's the only thing I probably hold against him is the fraternity. Other than that, he's doing great things. But again, I don't want to take too much time, but these two gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen who's running for Assembly, I'm fortunate to work with them as a professional educator, in many capacities. That we could not have two individuals who are more qualified, who are dedicated to the residents to humanity, but in this regard, to the residents of Orange. So fully support them and really look forward to working with you guys and supporting you as you ascend to the state office. So keep up the great work. Pleasure to meet some of my fellow residents of Orange. I look forward to joining you in the fight to make sure Orange is fully represented in all levels. So thank you.
Thank you for that. That was a really good comment. So what I want to remind you is that we are kind in this space, we are open in this space, and we are not rude in this space. So we are welcoming to everyone in the space. So if you have a comment, can we just kind of just keep it to our chest and maybe make that comment when someone is done speaking?
Absolutely.
And that's what I pride myself on. I'm calm, I'm kind, but I'm also professional, and we're gonna remain professional in this spot, which is something that we've done since August, since I started these coffees and conversations. All right, thank you so much.
Hi everyone. My name is Michael G. Baptist. I always have questions everywhere I go. Even I go to Trenton, I always have questions. My English is not really perfect. I speak 5 languages. I'm one of the immigrants I represent all the immigrant in, Haitian. So the first question I have for you, as an assembly, so we have a lot of immigrant in Orange. So I know it's above in local government. The mayor and the city council not able to do anything about that. So what's your plan for those people on the street in Orange? One question. The second question is tough. I've been in Orange 23 years. I've never seen a Democratic Party in Orange. So I'm pretty sure Democratic Party in Orange have to help you guys. They don't have no leader, nobody represent Democratic Party in Orange. Did you guys gonna do something to make sure the Democratic Party we have in Orange do their work, not the title? So the mayor and the councilwoman Adrienne and council Conte Hilbert, they represent the Democratic Party. They send message, hey guys, you have to register vote, but that's not the mayor's job, that's not the city council job, that's the Democratic Party. So are you guys gonna build a team? Because people calling me every day, Michael, did they have an election in June? Did they have an election in November? So I say yes. So they don't have nobody in the Democratic Party to do the job in Orange. As an assembly, when you get elected, are you gonna take that into consideration? So we gonna have a strong Democratic Party in Orange. So the mayor know what I'm talking about. The councilwoman know what I'm talking about. That's one of the things we need in Orange. So I went to a meeting. I tell them that. So I said, you guys don't do nothing in Orange. Even they have voting in Orange. You guys don't go outside to tell people register to vote. But you guys like the title. Whenever you go someplace, so I'm of the Democratic Party in Orange. So what benefits you if you don't do the job? You know, that's why I become a millionaire, then I do the job, I work. So if you don't work, how are you gonna get the title? Please, that's the question I asked you.
So what I'm hearing from this gentleman here is that he wants to see more representation of the Democratic Party out and about. That's what I'm hearing, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
as a newcomer coming into the Democratic Party, as a newcomer coming into the assembly, our job is to make sure that we listen to our residents. You mentioned something about the Haitian community and the immigrants that are coming into our towns and our cities. What can we do for them? Well, as one of the first things that we need to do is ensure that they have representation in every level of government that they can speak to in their target language, so that they're not afraid to come up and ask what their needs are. So that, number one, it has to be there. And I'm sure that in the city of Orange, in the city that we're all representing, which is Belleville, Bloomfield, Nutley, Glen Ridge, East Orange, and Orange, I'm sure that in every level of government, there's going to be people that can help those who may not have that target language to communicate. Because number one, communication is key. If we don't understand what needs, what their needs are, we won't be able to support them and find the resources that they need to ensure that they get around the town, whether it be transportation, whether it be healthcare, whether it be education. One of the things that's important is that we have parents that can't communicate with a principal or can't communicate with a teacher because they just are afraid to ask those questions. So communication is number one. Ensuring that there's representation in that target language, that they get the help and the resources that they need. So is that what I'm hearing from you? And as a Democrat coming into the Democratic Party is making sure that our faces are around. We're present. Being visible is going to be important. People need to see who we are and what we stand for, and that we are going to be carrying the load, right,
yes,
that our residents need, so that we can take it to the State House and ensure that the residents of the towns that we represent get what they need as far as resources.
Thank you.
On the Democratic Party side, I am also the chair of the Bloomfield Democrats as well. And we've built up that party to become a strong Democratic Party. So whatever help the Orange Democratic Party needs, whatever help the mayor and the councilwoman need, we're here for them to help them out and try to move things forward as a Democratic Party. As far as the immigration thing, New Jersey has been one of the most friendliest states for immigrants coming here. One thing too, and I was a strong advocate for, is making sure that driver's license were given, because they were driving anyway. So it was, let's get them registered, let's get them properly, and like Bloomfield, for example, we have a Home Depot in town. So we have a lot of immigrants that stand on the street so we've made it where our cops work with them, so they're not neglected from a job. Whereas prior, they would be on the street near the Home Depot and our cops would kick them out. And so we've changed the way we do things a little bit, where we've become a welcoming town and a welcoming city, and we want to work with them and show them, hey, you could be part of everyday Bloomfield. But I will tell you, when they do leave garbage, when they do leave a mess, we're there the next day making sure that, hey, if this is going to happen again, we're going to have to address it. So working with them, making sure they're part of everyday life in town.
I want to, I have this gentleman with the I am Nacho, I think that
I am
t-shirt.
not your father.
So Nacho's father is next, then it's Miss Myrna, then it's Karen, and then it's Gloria. So in that order. But I want to comment on that last comment. We can put it on the candidates and the people who are elected. I am a Black elected Democrat. I've always been in the Democrat Party. My family has always been in the Democratic Party. So I'm not waiting for a title to get out and rally the troops. But what I'll say to the troops is, you have to vote. Yes.
Yes.
So if you vote for somebody that's not qualified for a position, you, like the kids say, you get what you get. So in the city of Orange Township, we are behind when it comes to voting. We have 17,000 people on the rolls. Mayor, on average, how many people vote in the city?
11%.
4,000 people vote.
11%.
So now it could be a couple of things. It could be like what, and this is what I asked in my head, Adrian, what can you do as an elected official to get a hot plate under these people and get them to vote?
Right.
You have to come out and vote. And you have to vote for people who are for people. Not for the title, not that they just want to be like, oh, there's Councilwoman Adrian Wooten, and raise your hand and you're in the room and everybody applauds. It's not about that. It's about doing the work for the people. And this is something that Mayor Warren said to me when he won in 2012. He said, none of this belongs to us. It belongs to the people. But what I'm asking the people doing Orange is, do your research and vote. So you get qualified candidates. And I'm not calling people unqualified. I'm not saying that. But you get candidates who listen to you and who care about the things that you want in this city.
That's
and
true.
then I'm gonna go to
That's
the
true.
next question right here. Nacho's dad. Nacho's dad.
Okay, and that's not a happy Father's Day early to all of us. I bought a t-shirt. Good morning, everyone. My name is Hubert October Carvey Chase, 155 Haywood Avenue, Orange. I've been an Orange resident now for 5 years, and I want to tip my hat. Graduate 1992 of Newark Tech. Proud Newark Tech. I'm having some of the banners just now, and is it named after Gary? Steve Gary?
There is a banner in the gym, yes. There is a banner in the gym.
Coach Gary, I played on some of those teams. So I have a couple questions and also possible solutions. I don't just want to bring problems, I want to bring possible solutions. But one of the questions I have, and I'm tailoring off of my brother here, is about outreach and communication. I received several text messages to come to this event, and I'm here in between events like my elder. Unfortunately, I'm not able to come out to council meetings, county commission meetings, and things of that nature. I'm an educator as well in the city of Irvington. I'm also a doctorate student and a proud father of a young man who is, I'm his taxi driver. So I gotta go get him and take him to his So absence doesn't mean lack of interest. It may mean conflict of interest. So I'm a type of parent and resident that I want to be active in my community, even though I may be absent from meetings. So one of the things that can be beneficial to me, receiving the text messages that we have a meeting, text blasts, phone blasts, information being sent out to residents, giving us some information about what's going on, and giving us an opportunity maybe through some technology to interact with city council, with county commissioners, so that we can be a part of what's taking place where we're not necessarily physically present. My second question and request, Orange Park is a beautiful park. I walk my dog every day, that's part of my exercise, but all my friends, they go to Weequahic Park and they work out. Or they go to Verona Park and they work out. Orange Park needs a workout station. And I know that's a county particular piece, but I'm raising it here so that you can raise it to the county. Can we have a workout station and a potential dog park in Orange Park for those of us, we plenty of dogs that, you know, let our dogs run free. We get our workout in, our children can play on the courts and in the playground area. And then, my third request, and this is a request for the body, but in a future piece, and I know you're an educator, I'm an educator. We have the issues of, well, I'm just gonna say book banning that's coming down the pipe, and those issues that are against people of color, the diversity, the equity that we have. So are your platforms going to include things that will combat what we see in other states? Jersey, we kind of fine, but we do need to have some things in place. So, and I'm also, again, not physically available, but willing to work on those particular types of issues if need be.
Thank you. Let's put the head together with the Good question. Thank you.
Just want to, for the county piece, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I don't think that was part of the new construction that's going to happen in the county. In Orange Park, there's going to be a senior center that will be built by the county, that will be right by our senior building, so it'll be easily accessible. But since you raised that, I need to speak to the county executive and ask whether or not that project, it shouldn't cost that much to be expanded to include some kind of workout area. So that's a good suggestion. On the notification portions, I just want each candidate to speak to, I know, Mayor, you already do this, and Madam Principal, you do this with your parents, creating those kind of small committees on legislation that will be interesting to Orange, to put the blast out to say, hey, we're looking at this piece of legislation, here's how it affects you, and here's how you can make your voice heard before the committees or the full body. Just you can make a comment on how you plan to do that kind of conversation.
Can I use what you just said? Lack of presence does not mean lack of interest. I love that, you know, and it goes back to a lot of things that we do, even during COVID, you know, lack of presence, that didn't mean lack of interest. But as far as communication, like I said, communication is one of the most integral parts of just for us legislators to know what is happening in our communities. One of the things that I mentioned to someone, and it was someone that was going to be working, hopefully in my office, is to create these liaisons. And the liaisons are going to be the people that are going to be part of each community that we're going to represent to come to these type of events. Because again, lack of presence does not mean lack of interest. Just because we're not in these coffee clutches and these events doesn't mean that we're not interested to hear what our residents and our constituents need to say. So it's important that we create the folks that are going to be part of these coffee clutches and events, so that they bring back to us what it is that our constituents are saying about their town. So again, communication, whether it be an email blast, a phone blast, you know, social media is huge now. Everyone's using social media to communicate, so ensuring that we get that platform going. And believe it or not, our young people are the best at creating this social media platform. I have students right now that are gonna be working with me. And that's, it's important to get our young people involved. Once they see that they're a part of this bigger picture, whether it be communicating, being part of that liaison, coming out and being part of what we do on a daily basis, we are the role models for them. They can see themselves in us. And then we are then turning around and saying, you can do this as well. So communication is gonna be key. One of the things is creating these liaisons for each part of our towns that we represent. Communication, whether it be social media, and then continue what Mayor Warren is doing here, and the Councilwoman is creating these spaces for everyone to come out and speak.
Yeah, communication and presence is key. In January or even before that, I'm gonna start compiling email addresses and phone numbers. I know I keep on getting a text message from Mayor Warren about voting on Tuesday, and a system like that is perfect, because if you see it, it reminds you to go out and vote on Tuesday. So yeah, I plan on being active. I plan on representing all of our 6 towns. Yeah, it's funny, because I'm trying to get different knowledge from various different Assembly and Senate staffers and different people in the Assembly, and it's funny how the dynamics around the state are very different, because some people see, one person who came from a big town from another district, they're like, yeah, I just concentrate on that town, I don't worry about the other. And I'm like, really? Don't you want? And that blows my mind, and I'm not gonna be that. I'm gonna represent all 6 towns in the district and make sure I have a presence here. As far as the book banning, it's a sad state in our country right now. Some of these states, I think I just saw in Florida, school districts looking to ban a book by Amanda Gorman, who read The Poet at President Biden's inauguration. I'm just scratching my head about it. But here in New Jersey, Senate Majority Leader Teresa Ruiz, who hails from Newark, just introduced a bill that and no school district will be allowed to ban any book or library. And she had to give it up as majority leader. She used to be chair of the education committee as well. So yeah, I don't know the mindset of some of these people in Florida and Georgia and Mississippi, but it's crazy, and it baffles me that they're either afraid of the LGBT community, they're afraid of the African American or Latino community, and it's ignorant. You're right. It's very ignorant, and coming from Florida too, which is a diverse state. It blows my mind. Where is the voice of the people in Florida? Because it's only a select few that want this done, and their voice is being heard very loud right now. So it's a sad state of affairs.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Hi, I'm Myrna. I just wanted first to make one comment before I ask my question. You mentioned communication. In Orange, we have the best communication. My phone rings and lets me know everything that's going on and what's going to be, any events. Also, out of all the places I've been, we have open door policy. You can always make a call to our mayor, our councilwoman, and you will get results. They will get back to you. If you know another mayor that gives you his cell phone, let me know, because I don't. Okay? And you can call it, and you will. Now, for my question, there is money out there. What is being done for Orange to get some of them funds? Oh, and thank you.
Thank you. You can tell that we work for Ms. Myrna. Getting money in our coffers consumes a good majority of my time that I don't have to go to taxpayers and constantly gouge them to fund the operation of the city.
Okay.
Because we have a good relationship with the folks in Trenton, and because we go there and advocate, we get a significant amount of money, especially when it goes to our Board of Education. But whatever we get, it's never enough, because as more money comes in, there are more needs, there are more ideas that we have. And both of these candidates are well familiar with the orange tradition of whether it be getting our children on buses to go down to Trenton, or us as leaders going down to Trenton. They're familiar with the fact that we go down and we raise our voices at committee hearings before the leadership in Trenton, because we know that's where the money is and that's where we go. Part of the reason why they came here today on a Saturday morning, a couple days before the election, is because they think that Orange has a loud mouth, and they want to be able to hear what we have to say so they can take their message back to Trenton. So I'm fully confident that both of them will get on committees that mean something to us, that's important. And then when there are monies, now the state always says they have no money, but there's always a few dollars in some pots. And Mayor Venezia is down with me, so he knows how to be hungry enough to find those pots. And any time that you build a new school and you have a minority population of students and you have funding, that means you have some talent in finding out where the money is. And that's part of the reason why I support both of them, because they know how to find the money.
Thank you very much, Karen Walsh, for those of you who don't know. I am so glad that I came here this morning, because for the last 3 months, I've been working with the students from Orange High School and the STEM school to put together a program where we need funds that's gonna cover, and I'll send you my PowerPoint, we worked on that, it's really good. To say, because some of our students already have the associate's degree. These kids are brilliant, they're so smart, they're diverse. I got Mexican students, Dominican students, whatever. And so we put together our presentation, and it's about community development, all aspects of it. As you see our PowerPoint, you'll see. And all we really need is a fund, vocational training we want to do. We've got a building that we would like to be our historic museum, instead of my house being the museum. And have them learn plumbing, construction. These kids, some of them are already going to engineering school. They're absolutely brilliant. And all we need are the funds. That's what we need. So I'm gonna send you the PowerPoint. It's all laid out, what we wanna do, who we need, whatever. And also, if there could be more emphasis on historic preservation in our towns, that's what makes our towns rich. That's what does it. If you look at other towns, you go on vacation and what do? Visit the historical sites.
Absolutely.
When you go to New Orleans, where they take you? The graveyard. You know, you go to Boston, they take you to Faneuil Hall. You go to Martha's Vineyard, they take you to the village. You know, so if there could be one emphasis on that, first, that's a lot of money in our community, and it makes people want to come to our community to visit, spend money, whatever. But all I need is your email.
You got it.
Thank you.
I think I'll be all right. Yeah, you know, I had to write this down because anybody who knows me knows that I can do 8 hours without taking a break. But I'm Gloria Bozeman, citizen of Orange. I congratulate first off Councilwoman Adrian for having this conversation.
Yeah.
I have not been able to attend because, like the gentleman says, it's not for lack of interest, it's for a conflict. I'm usually teaching a graduate course in the morning. Saturday, my semester over, new about to begin, but that's another story. Nevertheless, I do have a couple of questions for what I believe to be qualified candidates, but I'm gonna look over the slate very clearly because running is one thing and getting in the seat and being accountable is another. Because we put you in, but we can take you out, okay? So, I hope that you will be accountable if I make that decision to vote for you, because I look at that material very carefully. But nevertheless, I want to talk about a couple of issues and maybe you could give me whether or not this is something the Assembly could be responsible for and adjusting, or whether or not this is something that's outside of that realm. When we talk about New Yorkers moving in, all of us know that the development went along the lines of the Midtown Direct. You have to be an idiot not to know that. So we know that New Yorkers came over. New Yorkers come over and use this as a bedroom community, but they don't spend any money in our communities. And so I'm looking to see what type of development we can put in and around Essex County that will assure that they leave some money in our counties and in our cities.
So,
before you go on to that, because I know you have multiple
You
questions.
know I do, see.
But, and I know, listen, this is a struggle, and I know the mayor's struggling with it as well, because what we're looking to figure out is, okay, they're living in Bloomfield, they're taking the train to work, but they're staying for happy hour, they're staying for dinner in New York City. How do we get them home earlier to go to happy hour and dinner in Bloomfield and Orange, and Glen Ridge also has a Midtown Direct. So that's what.
How do we tax them? Because when my daughter worked in New York, she was taxed for working in New York.
Well, I think the better solution is for us to figure out, let's figure out to keep them. So and because listen, people are working from home now, so let's try to make them have incentive to stay in Bloomfield, eat lunch in Bloomfield. That just
What
makes
do you
our
see
local
that
economy.
as? Tell me, because that's talk. Well, what do you see that as?
We have to provide better restaurants, better bars, better amenities for them to stay, come back to Bloomfield, to Orange earlier in the day and night to have their fun here.
And I'm
Also
hoping-
workspaces, everybody's doing workspaces.
I'm hoping that those amenities will first be offered to residents of that community as entrepreneurs and business developers.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for that as well. I look for that also in terms of the construction that occurs, that, you know, my brother speaks about this every time we come to council meeting, but he's right. That if you're gonna build something here, you've got this wonderful program where students get these certificates in engineering, plumbing, whatever, but then they need to have the apprenticeship in order to be able to enter these unions. And so when they get out of your programs, then are they allowed, shouldn't there be something within this building, up whatever it is, that we need a certain percentage of our residents to also get a job, either building it? That's one question. Give me a second, I'm gonna overload on this one. But with that next one is, you said affordable housing. There is affordable housing and affordable housing. I'm not talking about housing that occurs and that I believe should be there with regard to Section 8 or lower income. But what about our middle income, our students who are going to graduate? My daughter wants to move out, and I love her. Lord knows I do, you know, and we get along. But she wants to go. It's time for her independence. We did. I said she doesn't want to leave the area because she wants to work in the area, and so she wants to be a part of this development. $3,000 is not going to work. It's not going to work. So in this building, we need some moderate funding, moderate rent for our young people who are getting started and who need that road to independence.
Yeah.
So can that be a part of some of the
Absolutely. I think
legislation?
there's some cities that have what the urban enterprise zones that look into these situations. I think they had the Teachers Village in Newark, where they were giving incentives to teachers and who actually live in the community, and they'll be able to afford to actually stay there. We want to keep our residents. We want to keep our workers. We have to make sure that those jobs are available. You said about apprenticeships. One of the things that we do in our school district is that before they graduate, they have to be part of a work-based learning
I want that a
program.
part of a bill. You know,
Yes,
so-
I mean,
I want
yeah,
it because
absolutely.
I know
Yes,
the programs
and
you
the
do,
answer
and
is
I
yes,
believe in it.
absolutely.
But I want them a part of a bill. I
Let's
don't
do
want
it.
people to have the option.
Absolutely.
But that's the very reason we're sending someone who
Yeah.
has experience with young people, not just sending them off to college and they spend 4 years
And
and
they leave us.
But some children are
Yeah,
gonna
want them to
leave
come
with
back.
this kind of practice and wanna come directly in our community. I'm glad you spoke about the urban enterprise zone where funding is available to encourage this kind of entrepreneurship. But also, these folks will be looking at the Economic Development Authority to find out how they can incentivize people to build so that our people can work here. One of the things we're gonna do here in Orange is the Arts Village. We're gonna continue on that prospect where we know artists don't make a lot of money, but the kind of housing that we can build will accommodate them at the level that they can pay, and that'll go across the board.
Final question has to do with health. And I heard what you said about the rising cost of healthcare. I am in that industry. That is what I do. Wellness needs to be the focus.
Yes.
If you are looking at your police officers or your city residents or your municipal employees, then funding needs to come, because there's funding with regard to intervention, but there's no funding for prevention and wellness. And so communities that focus on wellness and prevention will save money in the areas that you were talking about. There are a whole lot of
We
models.
have,
We just need
and
people
I'm
on
sure
that-
you
on
have,
that.
we have a wellness coordinator that comes in, meets with the employees, and also we've partnered a program, especially for police and fire, where they can go get a physical every year, a full-fledged physical, and they work with our wellness coordinator to kind of address the areas they need to address.
Our whole cities need office, folks. I want a bill, I just don't
agree.
want you to agree with me.
And I
because
just
it's
want
much money.
to, I just want to mention also Commissioner Wayne Richardson, just arrived, and he's also part of the laborers union, and his union works with a lot of our students from Newark Tech, from Payne Tech, and West Caldwell Tech as well, so.
I'm done, because this next one is a city issue. The next developer that comes in here, if they don't develop that Y, I'm gonna be picketing out in front of them. Get that Y.
I'm glad it's on the agenda. That's Dr. Gloria Logan, by the way, who's teaching a number of our master's and PhD candidates in schools. I do want to also refer to Brother Wayne Richardson, who is a commissioner on the Essex County Board of Commissioners. He is the leader of that board, but he's consistently in my office to talk about labor and to talk about how all of the monies that flow into cities ought to make sure they're tapped to encourage growth in the labor market. So thank you for coming out so in the work that you do.
And we got work for you. Somebody wants a dog park and fitness stations in Orange Park. All right?
It's like all other county complaints. Wayne Richardson, right Wayne, raise your hand.
Good thing you showed up.
But brother, he is the kind like me that will give you his contact information and is responsible.
Zip, be careful.
Thank you very much.
Right here.
Scott, how you doing all right?
I might need the microphone.
Hi, Billy, you want to? Yeah, Billy said ladies first. So
Okay. Thank you. So a couple of things. I just want to commend everyone for your individual accomplishments and coming here today, because prior to getting a notification about you being here today, I didn't know much about you, so I had to do my research real quick last night. So again, just thank you for showing up. And to Adrian, Councilwoman Wooten, she is amazing. She does not just talk the talk, she walks conversations up so that we can attend and that we have a voice, and that is everything, because prior mayors before, we have not had anything such as this. So she's amazing, and just thank you for that. But to her point earlier about voting, it's so very important that we all get out and vote. And so one of the things is being a part of the council meetings, myself and my husband, some of the questions that we've asked is, how do we know when events are happening? Are there robocalls? How do we reach the masses so that they show up? Because what we're finding is that a lot of residents are not showing up, and for various reasons, as Nacho's father said. And a lot of this conflict, because I have conflict sometimes, so if I can't be on a call, my husband is on a call. So I understand that. But it's also, in terms of elections, it's not about who's the most popular, it's about action and who's gonna take those actions. And I hold myself accountable as well. We as a people in the township have to get out and to walk that walk. So as a result of that, myself and my husband, we're a part of the South Ward Alliance. And so that is a group of individuals in the South Ward that actually come together and talk about real issues. And as you know, bring them to your attention, Mayor. We are also very interested in getting people to vote. So that's important to us as well. My question for the mayor of Bloomfield is, what are your plans for Orange specifically? I know you're going to be in charge of various counties, but what do you foresee for Orange? And then secondarily, what is your percentage of affordable housing currently in Bloomfield for the new developments that are being built? And then to the mayor, what are we gonna do about having more businesses in Orange to attract people? Because I hear a lot about these people coming from New York, and that's cool, right? But what are we gonna do to retain the people that are here, to create jobs, to create things for the children to do, and to make sure that people stay here? Because that's important to myself and my husband as well. So that's all I have. Thank you. That's a lot.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your participation citizens like you are model in that whether it's a big event or a small event, you're there and you're making voices heard, not just for yourselves, but for your community. So thank you. I do want the Assembly people to, and we've talked about this because when we talked about bringing them to this space or endorsing them or advocating that people vote for them, my always thing is, what are you going to do for Orange? That's my bottom line. And in terms of business development and getting us what we need from EDA, Economic Development Authority, at the state level, both have committed to making sure that Orange is pinpointed because of where it sits, its importance to the region, and the kind of development that we're doing already. I have spoken to future Assemblyperson Morales about the fact that we have a STEM school, which is number 9 in the state. Give it up for STEM. And we have been the top in the county. So getting our children from there to a point where they can get to be job ready or college ready and then come back to our community has been a great topic of conversation for us. And the business pipeline that comes with that is something that we've spoken about as well with Mayor Venezia and our transportation hub. We really have our 2 Orange train stations, and then we have access to South Orange, and then Brick Church in East Orange. So that makes us particularly popular for commuters. And one of the things that you've heard the mayor talk about was the future support for urban enterprise zone funding. That means local startup businesses, facade improvements, getting main streets walkable. All of those things are things that they prioritize because they bring business to our community, and everybody knows that in America, the largest employer of persons are small businesses. And so that's been their focus. I ask people to come to move to Orange because of what we have to offer in terms of the historic housing stock, and in terms of an education for the children. That's where families come. And both of these candidates are aligned with that kind of mission. And I don't take it lightly either that both of them have voices that will be sounding on the state level, but there's strong voices in the county where resources come from, and the 3 of us have also sat with our congressional delegation to let them know what our district needs and what our city needs. There have been a lot of candidates to come before them that have been fearful or resident about speaking to those of a higher authority. These 2 people are unabashed about their support, especially when it comes to communities like ours. Carmen, when I talked to her about women-owned businesses, she lit up because it's a central focus of the things that she wants to do across the district. And certainly, I want to have our women ready to be able to prosper from the kind of programs that she wants to bring. So Orange is poised to do it. These people have, this is the first time that they've been at a formal event in Orange, and I told them that they will be under strict questioning and scrutiny because we don't want it to be your last time. I think Dr. Bozeman said it best. We can bring you in, and your parents have said we can bring you into the world, and we can take you out of the world. And we need to speak about that very clearly when we're speaking to candidates, because we have to let them know. And remember, the assembly runs every 2 years. So they don't get a lot of time to do a lot of work. So when they walk in on day 1, they have to start doing stuff, and they both committed to make sure that they send messages back to us on what legislation is up for tap and how we're going to be affected either positively or negatively. And both of them have committed to sponsoring the kind of transportation, whether it be buses or vans or whatever we need to be a voice in Trenton before their committees. So I'm happy with them, and I'm happy that they're allowing themselves to be questioned by us because we're the most important. We are the most important people in this district, are we not? We are. Yeah, Orange is the most important town. We are. And that's how we pursue our business. If everybody did that, then everybody would be better off. I can't speak for them. I do want to acknowledge our current assembly person who will be elevated to the New Jersey State Senate. We're by bringing her baby boy. That didn't stop the people from questioning her. It didn't stop her from reasserting her commitment
That's
to
right.
this district. Thank you, Brittany.
That's right, Dad has all three of them right now.
Sister Fauntleroy's in the back. She is a candidate for city council in the East City of East Orange. She didn't know that Orange was not part of the East Orange district. So she's gonna get back out on the campaign trail.
She's one of us.
Leroy Jones, Sister Leroy Jones, I didn't tell her to come off the campaign trail. You had to follow up. Since you had to follow up.
Oh, yeah, I don't think my other question was answered. I don't know if you know, Mayor
We're at,
Venezia.
for some of our projects.
In terms of the percentage.
20%.
Oh, it's 20%.
20% for some of the projects, and our, the senior building we built, I believe that was 87 units, was 100%.
Okay. So
So-
will you be working with the mayor of Orange in terms
Absolutely.
of creating affordable housing for the moderate income people?
Right.
and not
Right.
the New York?
That's what
Yes, yes, we will be working with the Division of Housing.
Middle income.
Another project we did in Bloomfield was similar to Teachers Village in Newark, but we did it where, to be eligible to buy a condo in that building, you had to be a nurse, firefighter, police, teacher. There was like 6 or 7 professions that were in there. And the developer got funding from the state, and the town worked with him, and we got it done. He did 3 separate buildings in town, which total about 45 units.
That's what we need.
We need a state model.
There is a state program like that, but I don't think many developers bother to do it, but that is something that
Yeah,
we
but
could
it
try to
needs to
push.
be reminded.
Yep, absolutely.
And one of the things that I'm finding is that when you are calling about rents, for example, for the moderate people, again, not the people of New York who can afford it, is that they're asking whether or not you have 2, 3, or 4 times the income to support that apartment. And that makes it even less affordable to even get in, let alone to stay there. And so again, I really, really appreciate the fact that people are coming over from New York, but I'm more concerned with retention for the residents that are already here right now and who want to stay here to help build and grow this community.
I just want to comment, I'm glad you brought that comment up. Part of state funding in terms of tax credits, there are criteria that you have to score. And another reason why I'm happy to have these 2 on board and another outspoken voice in the Senate is because the criteria that is made up, a lot of times it's made up to favor towns that are more suburban and less urban. But our legislators vote for the commissioners of the various departments that make up these scores. And so now that scoring is slanted back towards our needs in urban areas. So it's very important that those voices come, because that means that developers will have opportunities to fund. And when those funding opportunities come, it's the towns that give them the priority. And so when we're gonna do the law enforcement and teacher type of housing, when we start to do home ownership. But that's only because we have a voice with the state to make those things a priority to get money.
And that's amazing, because law enforcement and fire departments and all those things, that's great, right? But some people don't fall into those categories to get those discounts, right? And you always see that, no matter what town you go into, with law enforcement, the fire department, nurses, teachers, and that's cool. But I'm in healthcare, for example. We have our home. But what about other people in other areas that don't fall into those buckets? They deserve discounts as well. So I think that's something that's important to properly address as well. And that would be different from any other county, paying attention to those other folks.
Well said. I do want to point back of you, Senator.
She's the one to talk about
Mia
housing.
Moss. Is Mia Moss back there? New graduate of Payne Tech, headed off to Delaware State.
So I just happened to come because I wanted to show my support for my running mate, Carmen and Mike, and of course I showed up right whenever you all were talking about housing. My favorite subject. And I'm also here with one of my favorite mayors, who is doing such a great job in Orange and knows these issues through and through. But the question is really great. I have an inclusionary zoning bill at the state right now requiring that if there's a development over a certain number, that there be affordable housing tied into it. Historically, it's usually an 80-20, 80% market rate, 20% affordable. My argument is that it should be 25. Okay, 75% market rate, 25% affordable, because that extra 5% we're building on for those who make 120% and below the area median income, which will capture what it is and the group that you're talking about. And that's the group that I refer to as the damned if you do, damned if you don't population, who doesn't qualify for anything, but certainly is having a hard time making ends meet. So with that extra 5%, the reason why we put the I'm gonna, yes ma'am, but I just wanna finish my thought.
I am gonna let you go.
Thank you so much.
So I put my hand down.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for being gracious enough. So with that extra 5%, if we can get more workforce housing, that's great, but we didn't want to take away from also the low to moderate income that fall under the 80%, and that's why we built that in on top. So listen, it will be a big push. It will be something that will require this to occur statewide in every single municipality, and it's a heavy lift. And you know, I'm running on a ticket with great people. I will tell you that in Bloomfield, you know that I was an affordable housing advocate before I ever stepped into political office, running and founding the Essex Community Land Trust. Our first community land trust home was in Bloomfield. And it was, you know, Councilwoman Peggy Dunnigan who helped us run that approvals through. And Bloomfield has been very kind to, and that's a permanent affordable homeownership model that we have created in the nonprofit. But I just wanted to say that that's also something that the mayor of Bloomfield had a long time commitment to. So I'm feeling really excited about these two, with Carmen also being, you know, in education, and we know that education also touches housing, and everything is all interrelated. And I'm pretty sure that maybe we can get their support in the assembly. One of them could pick up that inclusionary zoning bill, and I could run it through in the Senate now, right?
That's all right.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. It's your show.
Before Dr. Our superintendent's in the house, Superintendent Dr. Gerald Fitz. Dr. Wooten, you have the floor.
Certainly I applaud the 25%, and want to encourage all who can be a part of that to just move that forward. But knowing the poverty index, that still doesn't reach a segment of the population who are working, graduated from the universities, now returning back to their cities. Our policemen, teachers, and firemen would not meet that 125%. So I still believe that there is something that we should be doing, as I'm hearing my around the corner, for the moderately income individuals. We want to retain those young people who are returning back from universities, who can contribute to the city. They should be able to live in the city.
Yes, ma'am, I agree. And just so that everyone knows, I know we're talking about percentages and things, 120% and below the area median income for a family of 4 is around about $120,000 a year. It's around about for a family of 4. If you go that high, if you look at the income charts. So that's why, you know, I'm saying, and because the median income for Essex County.
No, but it goes by a city, if I'm understanding it, unless you're talking about.
Most of them are countywide. So we run on the, it's called the Newark Metro HUD AMI. That's what we run on.
I think for a single person, what's it, 45,000 or something?
Yes, for a single person, it's like 45,000 around there. But so it's regional. So that's
single person, 45,000. That's what I'm talking.
But it's regional. So that is what would help, because if you go up to 125% on the region, it actually will capture those people that you're speaking of. Yes, ma'am. Please, because you guys know I get excited about politics. Now I'm going to exit stage left because this is not my show. This is not dear friend, Mayor Warren's show. And this is about Carmen Morales and my community. And I'm really excited about them coming and shutting down the traffic.
to remember June 6th, which is Tuesday. That's the voting day, and we have to get out there and vote. Mayor Venezia.
Again, I want to thank Mayor Warren and Councilwoman Wooten for organizing this. Let's give them a big round of applause. And I was happy to get in front of everyone today. And please go out and vote on Tuesday for Brittany, myself, and Carmen. It's very important just to go vote. I promise this won't be the first time. This won't be the last time you're going to see me. I will be around, both as a candidate and in January when I get to the assembly. So I look forward to seeing everyone.
And I also just want to thank our mayor and Councilwoman Wooten for inviting me here and us here to speak to you all. I feel like I'm part of the Orange family already. You guys welcomed us with open arms. We will continue to fight the fight in Trenton once we are there, with your voices in mind, with your needs in mind. So again, thank you all so much. I love these smaller venues because it does give us an opportunity to individually meet each and every one of you. Usually these venues are so large that you don't get to really see everyone, and you start forgetting names because there's just so many people coming up. These smaller venues like this is where the community is, right? And so again, thank you so much for coming out on a Saturday morning to speak with us and get to know us. And anything that you need, we're going to be around. Thank you.
I do want to thank Sal tonight. I do want to thank our sponsor, Sal. He's been very generous about the place and some of the food.